All right, welcome guys. We are going to do our virtual orientation for the course. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all just so you're able to see what I can see. All right. So, if you are joining us live, I hope you guys are having a great first day of classes on Monday, January 8th. This is a totally optional meeting, so if you did not make the meeting, if you're watching this at a different time, that is totally fine. I would recommend, though, trying to watch this all the way through just to clarify anything in the course that might need clarifying. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. I want to make this as quick and as painless as I possibly can. I'm Sarah Shuford. I'll be your online instructor for Art 111. And yeah, this is our Blackboard course. We'll go ahead and get started. So hopefully you've already logged into Blackboard. If not, it's okay though. This is just the first day of classes. I do want you to know though that during this first week, as I'm trying to get the census information for the course, I will be tracking your attendance daily. And if you are not logging into the course or have not logged into the course throughout this week, I will be kind of tracking you down every day to make sure that you get that going and everything is working okay for you. This is our homepage. It's going to be where our announcements are posted. I've already got kind of like our introduction here, what you need to be doing for this week. So if you have not read that, take a moment now, or if you can pause the video if you're watching it recorded to read this just intro announcement on what we are doing for this week. So additionally, this is just going to be going over our different Blackboard procedures, policies, and also kind of going through the syllabus as well. So just to kind of prepare you for what's to come, we're just going to do sort of an overview of everything. So the announcements is what you're going to see first. I do post announcements pretty frequently, once or twice a week. If anything changes throughout the week or if there's any issues that are going on, I will send an announcement that will also link to your email address. So if you don't check your announcements every day, it's probably okay. You'll get an email regarding any announcements that are really important. So announcements are here. The next thing down is our syllabus. Very, very important. Our syllabus is essentially a contract between the students and myself, saying that you understand the course policies, course procedures, and really anything that could potentially be an issue in the course. You can probably find it referenced in the syllabus. If it goes beyond the syllabus, we'll come to that issue when it gets there, but the syllabus is pretty clearly outlined and has just about everything that you could possibly think of that could present itself as being an issue or a concern in the course. Next thing down, we've got our course entry quiz. Please take that as soon as possible. We need to make sure that our course entry quiz is taken before the census date to assure that we are entered into the course. If you don't do your course entry quiz, I will be tracking you down for that information to send in my auditing report. It just takes you a couple minutes to do. It's just like 1 or 2 questions about the course. So just go ahead and take that as quickly as you possibly can so that you are, getting that going as soon as possible. I want to make sure okay, we are recording. I wanted to make sure that I turned the recording back on. And if you're just joining us, we're just now getting started. So we're just getting into the bulk of everything. So yeah, we've got the course entry quiz. Please take that as soon as possible if you have not already. The next thing down is we've got our course information. Course information is going to be super helpful on a weekly basis to understand what we've got due for the week and just any assignments that are coming up. And you can sort of look ahead that way. So we've got our first and foremost, we've got our due dates and our also important dates throughout the semester. Any college closures that we acknowledge as a course, any other breaks or anything like that that comes about. I do want to acknowledge that if you are taking this as a College Now student in high school, we do not, with online courses, we do not acknowledge if you are out for your high school, that it's not a date that's acknowledged at Gaston College. So essentially one of these dates that are listed here, if it exceeds that, I still have to follow this schedule. So if there's a high school break, unfortunately, I can't acknowledge that or like offer you extra time or anything like that. We have 2 different schedules. Now, if we were in an in-person course, that would obviously change because if you weren't there, I couldn't be there either. But with online courses, everything's going to stay the same based on this set of college closures and breaks and that sort of thing. We've also got our methods of evaluation listed here. I'm sure that everyone here has encountered a weighted course where you have different assignments that are weighted differently. If you have not had that, though, I have had students in the past that this is a really confusing thing for them. So I just want to kind of break that down quickly. So we've got, for example, participation, which is worth 15% of the total grade. This is measured in the form of Edpuzzle videos that are anywhere from 2 minutes long to 25 minutes long, depending on if it's a really long lecture or not. Each of those videos, there's probably, I don't know, 65 of them throughout the entire semester, are going to equate to or average out to be 15% of your total grade. So you'll have lots of grades in the grade books that are participation based. However, you do have 2 projects on the other hand, and those are worth 30% total. So our midterm project, for example, which is just 1 grade, is worth 15% of our total grade, which is the same as like all the participation points combined. I don't want you to get confused about that. I've had students in the past who, they've watched all the Edpuzzle videos and, they have that whole participation stuff like totally figured out, but they forgot to turn in their midterm project or their final project and don't understand why their grade is so low. That is due to the weighted grading system. So just please acknowledge that if this is something that's new for you, or if you need me to further explain that to you, I can. Most people have dealt with weighted grading in the past, but if you have not, more than happy to break that down for you, but we will be using it for this course. We've also got here our calendar, very, very useful. It'll tell you every week what is going to be due and when it is going to be due. All assignments are due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. So you've got the whole week to complete them. And yeah, they'll all be due at that time unless otherwise like specified. If there's something specifically that I want due earlier than Sunday, but otherwise it'll all be due 11:59. Everything that's in your different weeks. So for this week, we just have a welcome to art appreciation, review the course expectations, familiarize yourself with Blackboard, complete your course entry quiz, and also complete our icebreaker discussion, which I'll get into in just a moment. But pretty easy, just get familiar with the course week. Nothing too intense. We will get into the module and like the lecture stuff next week. But again, this week is just sort of familiarizing yourself, asking any questions that you might have, and just making sure that we're all, on the same page. So I'm going to jump back up here. We've got our syllabus right there, which I highly recommend just reading through that. I am going to go over it with you quickly, though, in a PowerPoint, so it's a little bit easier to break down. Get that up for us. So first and foremost, this is just my instructor information. I've got my email address listed here. I've got our office location. If you need the office location, you're more than well, or if you want to come to the office hours, you're more than welcome to do that. I will say I if not ever, have people actually come in person to my office hours, but it's there if you need it, if you want to come. We can also Zoom during that time. I'm in my office from Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 1:30. And also, if you'd like to call me during that time, I will be in my office and can answer my office phone. Otherwise, though, you'll just need to leave a message. The best way to reach me is through email. If you want to talk to me, within the hour, if there's something that's like really concerning for you, email is the best way to reach me. And that is my email listed right there. And I'll get into my email policy here shortly as well. This is just our course description, and I'm just going to kind of like summarize that into saying the Art 111 is going to cover our art theory, our art mediums. We'll do a little bit of art making, not a ton, art history, but this is not like an art making class. This is more just like learning what there is in visual arts, so that you can, decide whether or not you want to pursue that or, have further interest in that. But a lot of people are kind of confused the first day when I say that we are not actually like making artwork in this course. We are more so just learning about art and learning about art theory and art history. These are just some learning outcomes. I'm happy to speak more on these if you'd like to, but just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through these right now. I just want to more so go through like the policies and procedures, that sort of thing, but these are listed on the syllabus as well. Big important thing for this class that you may or may not have had in the past, this is an OER content-based course, which essentially just means open educational resources. That's what the abbreviation there stands for. And that essentially means that we do not need a textbook for this class that you have to pay for or your financial aid doesn't have to pay for, which can be a really, really great thing. But it's super important that you know that there is no textbook reading. However, there is a lot of Edpuzzle lecture videos that are rather lengthy. And I do apologize for that, but that's the way that I have chosen to deliver the course information to you all, instead of like writing my own textbook, which, would be a pretty big undertaking, maybe one day, but definitely not in the next like year or so will I be able to write a textbook. But yeah, the lecture videos will be super, super important. The Edpuzzle videos, super important. Any videos, PowerPoints, assignments, things like that, super important that you familiarize yourself with as if that were your textbook. Online attendance policy, and this is a totally 100% online course. There is no online meeting times other than this one right now that we do need to meet like in person for. With that said, online attendance as specified by Gaston College is to actually submit or complete an activity on Blackboard. So just logging into Blackboard is not going to guarantee that you are attending the course. I have had students before, and I don't know what their thinking was on this, but they'll log into Blackboard and see that they have work due, but never complete any of it. That is not considered online attendance. You actually have to submit something in order for it to be considered attending. With that said, if you go 21 consecutive, like in a row days without submitting something to Blackboard, you will be withdrawn from the course. With that said, you can be reinstated back into the course if you reach out to me and say, like, I have seen the light. I am, willing to do this, 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 and this to get myself back on track. And it happens for sure. I don't know what the thinking is on it because it's very, very hard to get caught back up if you've missed, nearly a month of classes. But, it has happened before. And more on that, the withdrawal process, if you go 21 consecutive days, I will automatically withdraw you myself. It's just our college policy. I have to do it, and our auditor will track me down if I don't withdraw you from the course. So I have to take you out of the course after 21 days. With that said, I think I've said with that said a bunch of times, but there's several kind of individual parts of this. If I withdraw you before the 70% mark of the course, which for us is April 11th, that's the last withdrawal date that we have, on your transcript, it will show as a WI, which is just a withdrawal. This does not affect your GPA. It does not look great on your GPA, but it's not going to like drop you a bunch of points on your GPA. If I have to withdraw you, so you go 21 consecutive days of not attending after the withdrawal date, then I will have to put an F in for your withdrawal. I can no longer put the WI status, and the F will affect your grade. So basically all there is to say, just don't go inactive for a long period of time. We do have weekly assignments that are due. And after a week, if I don't, see that you've submitted something, I will start to alert your advisors and our learning center to reach out to you and make sure that everything is okay. Alrighty, late work policy, another important one. I do not accept late work of any type without an extenuating circumstance attached to that and provided documentation for that circumstance. So this can be like a doctor's note, a note from a principal, anything like that. However, I do want you to acknowledge this is an online-based course. So a lot of the times doctor's notes and things like that, unless they're just like, it's something really taking you out of it, you break your hand, something like that. Those are not always considered either. If it's like one day of classes that you're missing and you've missed a whole week's worth of work, or you didn't turn in your work for a whole week, I'm not going to acknowledge that as being an excuse for you to, submit your late work in. I want to acknowledge that all assignments are due at 11:59 on Sundays. I do use adaptive release, so at 12 a.m. on Monday of the following week, those assignments from the previous week will close and not become available to you again. Please note that, just, jot that down wherever you need to. 11:59 p.m. Just make sure you've got your stuff turned in for Art 111. That's not an uncommon time either. It's probably, if you're taking more courses this semester, the time that other instructors will have their assignments due. But for this class specifically, Sunday, 11:59 p.m., the absolute latest that you can turn anything in. I do realize that technical issues do happen. However, in a fully online course, you are expected to have reliable access to a computer, Blackboard, internet, etc. So i.e. missing a charging cable, no internet, don't know how to turn in the assignment on Blackboard, etc. These are not going to be grounds for allowing me to allow you to submit late work. If there is an issue with one of those things, you need to let me know this earlier in the week. But most of the time, the technical issues that I've listed here and other ones, they happen at 11 o'clock on Sunday night when I'm no longer available to you. So make sure that you are, acknowledging these things earlier in the week. If you have lost your charging cable, if you don't have internet, if you, don't know where to turn an assignment in at, let me know that Friday afternoon before 5 p.m. so that I'm sure that I get back to you. Also, please note that Gaston College has open computer labs and library access on campus should you ever not have access to Wi-Fi or a computer. And I'm willing to work with you just about any possible way I can. If I have to, drive a computer to your house, I'll do it. But if you do not have access to something and you're not turning in work because you don't have the access to do so, you need to make me aware of that and to make Gaston College aware of that as soon as possible. Alrighty, email policy. This is a pretty big one as well, so make sure you take notes on this one. For emailing me, you have to use your Gaston College email address. This is not your personal email address, and this is not the high school email address that your high school gives you. This is the one that ends in gaston.edu or mymail@gaston.edu is what it probably will say. I cannot, just again, college policy, not entirely my policy, cannot respond to a personal email. I also cannot respond to your high school email. It has to be coming from your gaston.edu email address. Also, this isn't in this policy, but if you are taking this as a high school student, I cannot respond to your parents' email address. I cannot respond to anyone but you, the college student taking the course. I cannot respond to those emails, unfortunately. Number 2, we have a section number in our course, and I'm so sorry, I've already typed this wrong. We've got a section number, and it's Art 111 D6B. I teach 6 to 7 art appreciation courses a semester, so I have got 7 Art 111s this semester. It makes it really difficult for me when I don't know what class you're coming from all online courses if you don't include that number, and I've got to go through like 6 different syllabuses, or not, sorry, 6 different grade books to find out, who you are and what exactly you're asking, what the issue is. So if you don't include your section number, I will not respond to you quickly. So just make sure that you, include that in your email every single time you email me. It can be in the subject line, it can be at the end of the email, wherever you need it to be. But again, it's D6B, and it's the last 3 digits that follow the Art 111 at the top of your course. We do have a guide on email netiquette in our course info tab as well. Please do not treat email like text messaging. I want you to address me. I want you to, use proper grammar and spelling and punctuation, and then conclude with your name and sign off with your section number. I, realize that we, text and, don't use quite as formal ways of communicating with our professors as we used to, but it is still very important to me. And it also will help me get back to you and understand exactly what you are needing from me quicker. So I'm not like having to clarify 10,000 times and going back and forth, that sort of thing. So please use your email netiquette, and there is a link for that if you are unsure of what that means exactly. Last thing, and probably the most important, I do not use Blackboard Messenger at all. Blackboard Messenger is, let me try to get to it real quick so I can show y'all. Blackboard Messenger is going to be when you go to this little email right here. That is Blackboard Messenger. The messenger that you need to use, let me try to get to that real quick as well. If I can get to the top here. If you go to Gaston College's homepage, right here, you'll see we've got this little quick links tab up here. Go to the students and then go to email right there. And that will take you to your student email. You can also just click right here as well, but it needs to be from like the Microsoft account that you were assigned when joining Gaston College. That's super, super important. Do not use Blackboard Messenger. I do not respond to those. And you can see already right here, this is just from this semester too. I've got 7 messages in Blackboard Messenger that I am not going to respond to those. So, and that's in my email policy. I know it's kind of harsh, but I don't want to like start with, please use your email address. I'm not going to respond to those. I'm making the video here in the email policy. So do not do those. I will not respond to them. Let's jump back into our PowerPoint. Okay, adaptive release, already talked about that a little bit, but again, assignments, discussions, quizzes, etc., will close at 12 a.m. on Mondays, and then they will, they'll reset on Mondays. So have all your work that is due the week before at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday nights. After 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, it will reset to the next week. Okay, some resources that we have at Gaston College. I'm sorry, I'm talking a little bit faster just so we can kind of get through this quicker. We do have a writing center. There's a lot of writing in this course. We have an art analysis assignment. We've got several like writing assignments. If your writing is really not up to par, if it's, you're getting docked points continuously for writing issues, grammar, spelling, organization, that sort of thing, I will probably refer you in an alert to the writing center. You can also, go to the writing center yourself if you, feel like you need help editing or just, getting more information on how to organize your papers. And the form for that's right there. We've also got our writing center listed right there for the email address, the phone, and the location. It's in the Morris Library. And I think I've got an old copy of this because I had something new written down. Maybe didn't save. Give me 1 second. I'll come back to this with that information and post it at a later time. Office of Accessibility and Disability, we do have that on campus as well. And I do want to just acknowledge here that if you have an IEP, an existing IEP, or you had an IEP, if you're out of high school now, and you do need some sort of accommodation, that could be extended time in testing, it could be, printed out notes, any of that sort of thing. It does not necessarily mean that it has already been acknowledged at Gaston. You'll need to contact the Office of Accessibility and Disability Services, and they will need to create an accommodation form for you to then send to me, and then that'll be, an official way of me observing any type of accommodation that you might need. Otherwise, I definitely sympathize if you do have something that you do need more time, or you do, have a learning disability, any of that sort of thing. Totally, sympathize, but I can't formally acknowledge it without that official documentation, which is not super challenging to receive. Barbara O'Donnell, which I'll send her contact out as well, is who you'll need to talk to about that. And she is wonderful. She's great. She will handle everything for you and make it to where, you have whatever it is that you need for this course. But again, I cannot acknowledge a just high school IEP. Has to be documented at Gaston College as well. All right, so participation, assignments, discussions, quizzes, projects, a final exam. That's going to be our methods of evaluation for this course. And I'm going to go through what each of those are a little bit more. And you can see here we've got the weights as well for each of those. Participation. Participation is 15% of our total grade, and this comes from the ed puzzles that I showed you a little bit ago. We've got an ed puzzle folder in each of our modules, and you'll just need to watch and answer any questions that are attached to the ed puzzles, and then those will accumulate to being your total grade. Like I said, we have like 60, 65, something like that, ed puzzle videos that will be for participation. If you miss one of those, it's not a huge deal. Don't freak out if you miss one ed puzzle video. It's not the end of the world, I promise. You'll get back on track. It will be okay. Even if you miss 2 or 3, it'll be okay. You can always, come back and watch more. But again, it's 15% of the total grade. And there's like, divide 15% by like 65, and that's what one ed puzzle is worth. They are not worth a lot of points. Okay. We've got assignments and discussions. Assignments and discussions are both worth 15% as well. Only difference here is discussions require you to respond to other classmates and you can see their post as well. Assignments are just a singular, assignment submitted, and only me and you will see it. But just acknowledge as well, I have had some issues with in the past with discussions with people not realizing that other people can see the discussion posts that they've made. So just, acknowledge that it is public. You are not, this is not a private exchange between you and me. This is open for the whole entire class to see. So if there's something that you don't want to share publicly or, with more than just me, maybe don't share it for the discussion. Okay. Quizzes also worth 15%. We'll have 8 quizzes. We have 8 modules. They are, one for each module. These will be consisting of 10 questions of multiple choice, fill in the blank, and true or false style questions. And we will also use the quizzes again during our final exam, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Our midterms, our midterm project is an art analysis. It's worth 15% of our total grade. Big percentage, just acknowledge that it is a big percentage of our final grade. And that is just to write a essentially an essay of a chosen artwork. And it will help me to know that you understand the materials from the first half of the course. It'll be about halfway in the semester. Final project comes at the very last week of classes, and it is to curate a virtual museum using Google Sites. If you have not used Google Sites before, it's super user-friendly. If you can create a Facebook page or an Instagram page, you can, I'm sure, create a Google site. If you have already created a Google site before, you'll have that little bit of knowledge, but you do not need any prior experience with Google Sites to do this assignment. We have a projects folder where you'll turn in your projects and have all the information on your projects. It's on the modules page at the very bottom, but it is separate from like the individual modules, like module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is what the other stuff will be organized with. And then lastly, our final exam. Our final exam is going to be a part A and a part B. Part A is curriculum based, so that is not something that I design. I will have a Jeopardy style study guide for you for part A, and it'll be pretty much telling you the answers more or less, just, telling you blank there. It's going to be a pretty extensive study guide. Part B, linking back to the quizzes real quick, is going to come from old quiz questions that we scored the poorest on when we took them in the time that they were due. So I'll just recycle those again and just, give them to you again to review once more and just make sure that we are, have the right answers this time. When you go to take your quiz at the end, when you've turned it in, there's an option to review your quiz and you can review the answers. If you want, and I would highly recommend creating yourself a study guide to study from those quiz questions when you're reviewing it. And that way you'll have that study guide to use at the very end for your final exam. But otherwise, there will not be a study guide that I distribute to you for part B. You'll need to have created that yourself or just remember what the quiz question answers were. Okay, last thing, we do have extra credit. We have some good extra credit opportunities, I think. Extra credit is going to be, you have 3 opportunities for extra credit throughout the semester. There are no more. I do not offer any other additional extra credit opportunities. And these are going to be for students to, throughout the semester, attend an art-focused gallery or museum, writing a brief summary of their experience at the museum or gallery. Each extra credit opportunity is worth 2 points of extra credit that will be added to your final grade. So that's like, if you have a 90 or if you have an 88 in the class and you go to 1 extra credit opportunity, you'll have a 90 in the class. These will be added to the final grade. If a student completes all 3 extra credit opportunities, they will have a total of 6 points extra credit. So for example, if the student's grade is an 84 and they complete all 3 extra credit opportunities, their grade will raise to a 90, which is a really big difference there. So, definitely take advantage of that. If you do have any, questions about extra credit, just refer to this. And the instructions for it are to attend an approved art gallery or museum. In the announcements, I'll regularly post opportunities from the Rausch Gallery on the main campus of Gaston College. Also, the CVA Student Gallery is another approved gallery as well. I'm not going to list all of the ones that I have approved in the past, but like the Mint Museum in Charlotte, the Beckler Museum in Charlotte, those are both approved. But it has to be a gallery that you have attended while taking this course. It can't be like, last summer you went to New York and you went to the MoMA. It needs to be one that you have attended in this course. And please email me to make sure that it is going to be an approved gallery before you actually go to it. I've had some people go to museums that are not art-based before, just for the purpose of getting extra credit, and I have not acknowledged those. Because they are not art-based galleries. So just make sure that you email me first and make sure that it is an approved gallery. And I'll post opportunities, different exhibitions, that sort of thing as they come around. You'll need to take a selfie in the gallery and a photo of one or more of the artworks that were in the show. And then you'll need to write a brief 2-paragraph summary. Paragraph 1 is a summary of the exhibit. So you'll need to name the artist or the artists, if there's multiple, the mediums, what the artwork looks like, form, content, etc. And then paragraph 2 is your opinion on the work. So you can talk about the artwork or the gallery as a whole. You need to save this as a PDF to your computer and then email this to me at my email address as schufert@gaston.edu. And then all extra credit opportunities are due no later than the Friday before exam week, which is the 3rd of May at 5 p.m. If you want to acknowledge extra credit, that will be the time that you need to do so. Alrighty. Lastly, if you are not already a Gaston College student, congratulations on your new status. You have access to things like the gym facilities, library access, student discounts, and more, but it also comes with the expectations of college students in the class to be professional, mature, and respectful at all times. So that's going to come from your email etiquette, your ability to show up online and to turn in your assignments on time, not continuously asking for extensions on assignments, that sort of thing, which I'm probably not going to acknowledge anyway. Additionally, you need, especially if I'm speaking to like the college now high school students, if you have an issue going on in the course, talk to me about it before you kind of like reach out to your counselor or reach out to your parent, that sort of thing. That's the quickest way for us to resolve any type of issue, is for you to talk with me one-on-one via email. That's where you'll start at. So, it's professional and mature for you to be the one starting that conversation and not putting it off on a parent or someone else to take care of for you. All right, so lastly, we're going to jump over here real quick again to our Blackboard page. And this week we're starting on the Start Here module. I'm not going to go over too in depth. This is just kind of like an overview of what's going to be in the Start Here. But here's our icebreaker discussion. It's just essentially you're finding your favorite artwork. If you don't have a favorite artwork, then this is an opportunity for you to look through some different galleries that I have posted and decide what your favorite artwork is. And create a thread and embed your saved image of your favorite artwork to the discussion board. So you need to include an image and the writing telling us why you like this artwork. And then this is a discussion, so you'll need to respond to at least 3 classmates in a meaningful way. This is an example of an initial post that got 100 previously. So this is exactly what you should be looking for here. And when you do go to the discussion, if you haven't done this before, you'll need to go here, create a thread right there, and go to the bottom, include your message right there, your subject, and then just submit. That's all you got to do. And then you'll see these are people that have already submitted the discussion here, and they have done it the right way, as far as I'm aware. And then you can just click on theirs to view them and respond to 3 of those. So yeah, try to get that done as soon as you can. I appreciate those of you who have already taken care of that. And if you have not yet, then I look forward to reading your discussion. And yeah, and then just the course entry quiz. That's the only other thing we've got going on this week is course entry quiz and the discussion for this week. So I've got a few minutes left before our meeting ends. Does anybody have any questions that have joined us live? I do have a chat up here, I just realized. I don't think Kennedy's in the chat anymore. Is anyone else having problems hearing me? Hopefully that's not been the case the whole time.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you confirming that. It might have been her computer or something. Do you guys have any other questions or anything? Donovan, I know you were having a little bit of trouble submitting the discussion. Does this clarify anything that you were having issues with before on submitting that discussion?
No, not at all. I'll figure it out. I got it.
Do you know what to do now though? Does this clarify it for you?
Yes, you just showed me how to create the trend. I'm about to do that now.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you got it. Perfect.
All right.
Is there any other questions that you guys have before we end?
No,
All righty. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And if you do think of anything, just send me an email and I'll get it taken care of for you. I don't have any in-person classes this week, so I can meet one-on-one if we need to. And yeah, if there's anything you think of, just let me know. But otherwise, you guys have a great night.
thank you. You too.
All right, bye.